Welcome back to Killer Fun, where we explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week. I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And today we are talking about Wreck. It's currently on Hulu. It aired on BBC One Player, I think, like a streaming service for the BBC. We're talking about season 1, episode 1, Ship of Dreams. Is that duck holding a knife?
It is. And it's a very large duck. He's menacing and funny. And
he's menacing and funny, and it's schlocky and like all the horror tropes, but a lot of fun and funny. And
I mean, I actually was surprised how many times they surprised me.
Yeah. Oh, and yes. So
the unexpected. They're good at the unexpected. It's a really fun. I mean, some things I guessed. Right? But like the actual scene by scene, there are some really like, what? What just happened? Oh my God.
Right.
It's great.
Yeah. It was very fun. And I'm so excited that it's going to have a second season.
That is such good news.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I literally, like a few minutes before you showed up to record, literally minutes, finished the 6th episode.
And I finished episode 3, so I have 4, 5, and 6 to go.
And it's just, I'm so glad you wanted to keep watching it. It's been a while since we've covered something we actually really liked.
I know, actually, we've had a few where
where we thought it was going to be great, and then it was like, Hello Tomorrow's kind of dumb.
I know, and that had such promise.
It did.
And
this one, my expectations were very low, and I was so pleasantly surprised.
You know what? Maybe that's kind of the trick.
Maybe.
But the production value on this is really, really high.
Yes.
And it shows. And it's good comedic timing. And I just love that. It's funny.
It is funny. And there's lots of fun, like horror movie references.
Yeah.
There's a reference to The Shining. And we'll get into some of the other references that are here. And it's
it's super crimey too.
Yeah, and super crimey,
which is why we're covering it.
Getting crimier by the minute, trust me. All right, so let's talk about the cast. So a lot of these are British actors, so I don't know them well from stuff because they do a lot of British TV and not a lot of crossover stuff. We're going to talk about them anyway because they did a great job and it was super fun. Oscar Kennedy is Jamie Walsh. Lots of British shows, including another horror comedy hybrid, School's Out Forever, which was a movie, and then a bunch of other TV stuff. Jodie Tyek is Pippa Walsh. She's done a fair amount of British TV, but this show, Wreck, tops her list of known for. Jack Rowan is Danny, Pippa's ex. A British TV staple, including several episodes of Peaky Blinders, which had a lot of popularity here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Thadia Graham is Vivian, who's a crewmate. She's another pretty recent TV regular in Britain, but I'm really excited because she's in the new season of Sex Education on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It's about to come out. It's coming out in the end of April 2023, and I'm super excited to see what she does because that is a great show.
I haven't dove into that.
Oh my gosh, you will love it. It's a lot of like psychology, but real sex positive, but also very like pushing for safety and comfort, emotional, physical, all the stuff. It's so good.
All right. I'll have to give it a try.
And it's funny. It's
okay.
Funny.
I mean, it looked funny. I just never clicked it and, started.
Yeah.
Never took the dive.
Yeah. When you get a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amber Gappy is Lauren, and she's new to acting.
Okay.
She's black lady who had a fiance when she started.
Yeah.
And then kind of ended up kissing somebody at a party.
Well,
maybe other stuff that you don't explicitly see on screen in the first episode. So this is only her second acting credit. Her first being The Baby, which is on HBO Max, and it's actually not out yet. It comes out at the end of April.
Okay, cool.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that because I watched a little preview for that, and it looks kind of funny. So, and then the only other one that I'm going to mention, even though there's a huge cast.
Seriously.
Yeah. Is the bingo caller in the hall. His name is Ryan J. Brown. He's the creator of the show.
Oh, hey, look at that. Aw.
I love it when like writers and creators and stuff do that. Where
have their little cameo.
Yeah, that used to be a thing in M. Night Shyamalan
movies. Yeah.
He always had
see him.
like a little cameo somewhere. All right, let's quickly recap. After an altercation with her ex-boyfriend, cruise ship entertainer Pippa has a far more disturbing altercation with a duck. Or at least a person in a ship mascot duck costume. Pippa ends up jumping off the back of the boat.
And she does it gloriously.
Like with a double middle finger. It's so great.
Like, I mean, it was beautiful, actually.
Yeah, it was like super awesome. Like, I know I'm probably jumping to my death, and I'm going to do it with all of the gusto in my heart.
Yup. And she assessed it, too.
Yeah.
Now, she turned and she looked.
Uh-huh.
She had some laser eyes.
Uh-huh.
She had a plan that may or may not work out.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not to the end yet, so I don't know if it worked out.
Yeah.
So.
You don't know. So 3 months later, Pippa's brother, Jamie, he's purchased an identity of a person named Cormac from Cormac himself. So it's not like a salacious sort of identity fraud purchase here, and becomes a crew member on the ship where Pippa went missing because he wants to find out what really happened to his dear sister. He's not buying the suicide explanation. So Jamie suspects Danny, Pippa's ex-boyfriend, who's on the ship, but is asking anybody who will listen about Pippa. Like, trying to be casual about it, and he's really kind of not very good at it.
Not casual at all.
No, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
She was well liked. Danny is not. So Jamie finds allies like Vivian and starts to go gather information, gets hazed, makes a possible love connection, all while we see that his top suspect couldn't be involved after all.
Yep.
That's the first episode. Critics were like super lukewarm about this.
Okay.
Audiences loved it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there
Sometimes
we go.
that's how it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a solid A, 96% from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. Because
critics just don't like entertaining things. They need it to be more.
They want it to be so cerebral.
Yes.
It's hard for them to really like something that's just kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though there's a lot of depth to this.
There's always a lot of depth to these things, but it presents as, like you said, just fun.
Right.
Critics don't like fun. No. They're fuddy-duddies.
Yeah. Many
just
of
kidding.
them.
I'm kidding. Don't come at me. But also, yes. Yes, you are.
So, was it filmed on a real cruise ship?
Please tell me I'm dying.
No, it was not.
Okay, then that is one hell of a set.
Okay, it actually is. So there was no cruise ship to actually shoot on.
Okay.
And it was difficult because it was COVID while they were filming this, and they have this huge cast. So it made it really, really challenging. And a cruise ship, in order for them to be able to afford it, it would have had to be a working cruise ship. Mm-hmm. And filming on a working cruise ship, all but impossible. So what they did was in Ballymena in Northern Ireland, there was a factory that until 2018 and for 50 years before that had been producing tires.
Okay.
And it got closed down. And so it's this huge factory, and they used that in which to build their set.
Oh my gosh.
And they were able to use some of the existing structures in there because they looked enough like the bowels of a cruise ship.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Or like under construction areas.
Yeah.
So they were able to utilize some of the existing stuff there. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's so much easier to film like something like that on a set because cruise ships are tight.
Yeah, it would be difficult.
And they did a really good job of making it feel tight. But that they had the ability to like move walls away and things like that. In order to be
it just felt so. There were a couple continuity errors, just a couple that I noticed particularly. But I was so impressed with how like the whole set had such good continuity.
Yeah,
like I felt like I understood where people were going.
Yeah, generally like it.
Yeah,
and when you didn't. It could have been a continuity error, or it could just be that it's a maze.
Yeah, because cruise ships are freaking mazes.
Yeah.
They really are. It's just amazing.
So
I've
not
did a good job.
Been on a cruise ship. I know you have a few times.
Yeah.
And, but I haven't, but it makes me think of going to Disney World and their hotels are kind of like cruise ships in how they're set up.
Yeah.
Like it is a maze. Like the really finding your room the first time
is like really difficult.
It's we're going on in it. This is the first adventure of Disney World.
When you walk into like a big theater with tickets and you have that person who looks at your tickets and tells you where to go. When you enter a cruise ship, those people are everywhere.
Okay.
So that like they'll look at and they'll go and they'll take you there, or if it's they'll tell you. So like literally on your way to the rooms,
you keep asking people.
They're stationed. Wow. For this purpose. Wow. It's not like you could just randomly. I mean, that's what they're like. There's a whole crew of people like, we will get you to your rooms. And then they give you reminders and they help you figure out where you are. And there's like a little, like even like a little training, like where's the front of the ship? What do we call this? What do we call that? So that we say this. And so you can kind of like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun, actually.
They used Belfast Waterfront Hall to stand in for the cruise ship's amphitheater.
Okay.
So they didn't that wasn't a set, that was an actual place. About 70% of Wreck was filmed in the factory.
Okay.
And the rest being other locations. They did have the SS Nomadic, which is a boat that's housed in Belfast that helped the Titanic in 1911.
Oh, yeah.
So that was when they had a scene that absolutely had to be filmed on a ship. That's what they used.
Okay.
So
wow, that's kind of cool.
Well, it's really cool.
You got to go on a vintage piece of history.
It's super opulent and really really cool, and it right there.
Yeah.
And the most challenging thing about filming this was not what you would think, the sets and whatever.
Okay.
It was that it was filmed in Northern Ireland and it was super cold.
Oh, man.
And they're all wearing shorts and bathing suits and stuff like that. So cold that sometimes they chewed ice before they spoke their lines so that their breath wasn't visible.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, they're all in beachwear.
Complete Caribbean. Although they mentioned the Pacific Ocean, so it wasn't a Caribbean cruise.
Yeah, they were off. I don't know. Somebody in an interview that I read said they thought they were trying to pretend they were off the coast of Miami at one point. And I'm like,
yeah, but it said that she took a dive into the Pacific.
Yeah. Well, that's
continuity.
And then let's have a little trivia before we go to break.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the lead character, Jamie, is named after the actress Jamie Lee Curtis because she got her start as the original Scream Queen.
Okay.
And then the last name Walsh was from Mark Patton's character Jesse Walsh from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay. All right.
So while the staff captain is giving a tour to the new recruits, the new people on the ship, she says this line: "One-stop shopping and eating everything you need at your fingertips." And this is a direct quote from Dawn of the Dead, 1978.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Vivian calls Karen Aunt Lydia.
I heard that and I laughed so hard.
Me too. I'm like, oh, another Hulu original. Handmaid's Tale right there that we've talked much about. Vivian quotes The Shining in the hallway. "Come and play with us forever and ever and ever." And then the cruise ship name is the sacramentum, and it's ecclesiastical Latin for mystery or secret.
Nice.
Very fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Lots of symbolism in this one.
Totally. We're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back with Is It True? Psychology Break and Real Life.
So here's how it works. Christy wrecks her search history. Hey, an essay. We promise it's nothing more nefarious than a podcast. To find out what's true, some of the psychological motivations behind the characters' actions, and real-life applications that relate to our topic. I have no idea what Christy decided to look up. Could be the same thing that captured my curiosity or something I never thought of.
Is it true? Are the sacramentum, the ship, or Valorium, the company, real?
No.
Of course not.
No.
What real company would want to be associated with us?
Oh, no.
I mean...
No, nobody.
Maybe not... No. It is not real at all. So there are some real life businesses using the name, but none of them are even remotely related to cruise ships. They don't have investments in them or anything.
Okay,
so,
well, that's smart.
Yeah, it is smart.
Because people are afraid of cruise ships in a lot of ways already, which I think is super cool that they're doing like this slasher thing on a cruise ship. Because that's your fear. You can't go anywhere except to dive with double middle fingers off the back. I mean, like... Yeah. It's very it can feel scary.
Yeah. So Pippa had gone swimming.
Yeah.
For exercise, stress relief, whatever. And knew that her ex-boyfriend Danny was around the corner before he even revealed himself because he smelled like a cloud of Lynx Africa. I was like, what is this?
I didn't know what that was.
Okay, so Africa is the scent, and Lynx is the brand name of Axe body spray in Europe.
Okay, gotcha.
So Lynx Africa is like one of the quintessential, like if you were going to smell Axe body spray or Lynx.
Or like for us, we might say Old Spice. A cloud of Old Spice.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there isn't like a super particular Axe body spray scent for us, or at least not for me. Maybe for people in their 20s.
Back in our day, we would have said, cloud of cool water, or curves,
or Drakkar.
Yeah, Drakkar or Asimiyaki. Yeah, like those were like the big ones.
Yeah. So yes. That would have been, like in the 90s, what the cloud that somebody would rode in on. Now it's Axe body spray. I guess Africa is the, like, the OG.
The OG.
So Pippa got in and out of a very polite elevator after that little argument. And the doors announced that they were opening and closing. So I couldn't find that is an actual accessibility thing for very many elevators. Okay.
Yeah, not in the US.
Not that I could really find anywhere that they would say that the doors were opening and closing, because I guess people who are blind who would need that say it's pretty easy to tell when the doors are opening and closing because it's stopping and it's loud. It's a loud enough noise. But there is an accessibility thing that is pretty common.
Okay.
And it's that elevators going up use one ding and elevators coming down use two dings.
Okay.
This is an accessibility thing. And now some of them will announce what floor you're on.
Yeah.
Which I've heard before, but I never noticed the elevator with a one ding for up or two dings for down.
I mean, now that you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard that. When we lived in Korea, there was a lot of talking elevators.
Okay.
It was in Hangul, so I didn't understand them, but they would talk all the time. And the only thing I did know was the numbers.
Right.
And it counted every floor.
Okay. Yeah. It would say what floor you were on.
Yeah. Like just like if it was here, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And so like there was, and it would talk as it opened and it would talk as it closed.
Yeah.
And it was very, very talkative. Here's the thing that they have to bring here that they had in Korea. in these elevators. Okay, first of all, though, there is no 13th floor.
No.
Okay.
No.
Which is really like,
and yet there's a lot of, I've noticed when I've stayed in very tall buildings that very often there's not a 13th floor.
It's very interesting. But here's the thing that I like is that in Korea, you can press the button, right? And you go to the floor. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. You can press it again and it turns it off.
Oh, that'll happen. You can do that in the U.S. It's usually a double push in the U.S.
So you have to double push it to stop it?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yes.
Because I feel like I've done that, but maybe I'm just angry at it. But because in Korea, it's one touch on, one touch
off. Oh, yeah, to deselect the floor.
To deselect, yes.
Right.
So you can do this here.
It's my understanding, yes. I
thought you couldn't do it here.
No, I think you can because I did one time. I had a kid who came in and did the hand thing and their parents double pushed the numbers for the floors that we didn't want to stop at so that we didn't have to do a whole tour.
Maybe it's just not many elevators.
Maybe it's not all of them. But
maybe it's like high rise when that's a big problem.
Right. Yeah. When there's 4 floors, it's like, okay.
Whatever, just deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it.
We're not putting that extra circuit in.
I don't know why, or just, I don't know.
All right. Well, that's good to know. The next time I go to like a bigger building, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to select all of them to try this, but
no, just one.
Just one.
Right. Maybe higher up than you want to go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Penthouse, please. Thank you. Ding.
So the bingo caller, who was the show creator. Yes. As Pippa's running by, being chased by the homicidal duck. She bangs on the window of the bingo hall, but it's storming and it's loud inside and nobody hears her.
Right.
And the bingo calls out, "One little duck, quack, quack, number 2." And I'm like, what? Is this their mascot on this cruise ship?
Is this duck?
I'm like, what? No, that is like a normal bingo call.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Why?
So,
you don't just say the number?
That's what I thought.
What?
Oh, no. They try and make it fun for all the little old people. Oh. So number 1 is Kelly's Eye. Number 2 is One Little Duck. 3 is A Cup of Tea. A lot of them are rhyming. 4, Knock at the Door. 5, Man Alive. 6, Half Dozen. 7, Lucky 7 or a crutch, because it looks like a crutch. 8, Garden Gate. 9, Doctor's Orders. 10, Boris's Den, Johnson's Den, whoever the current Prime Minister of the UK is.
Oh.
Isn't that funny? And there's like all the way up to 100.
Oh my gosh.
Special names, because it's 1 to 99. So other ones that involve ducks.
Okay.
22, 2 little ducks. 25, Duck and Dive.
Okay.
27, Duck and a Crutch. 72, Crutch and a Duck. And 82, a Fat Lady and a Duck. I'm like mean, right?
Wow. My mind is blown right now that there's like this whole like underground, apparently like
subculture
of bingo. I mean, I know that there was a bingo pro shop around here.
Oh.
Yeah, bingo pro shop. Yep, bingo pro shop. I'm like,
bingo's like a big deal. Like there's like bingo halls.
That's true, but I feel like the pro shop is like a few shelves.
Yeah, what do you need? I need a special stamper.
Yeah, but like that's can fit on one shelf.
I mean, for real.
I have not gone into the bingo pro shop, so I don't know.
I bet it sells like bingo supplies. So if you're doing like different kind of bingos where you have the little chips where you're going to reuse the cards instead of dotting them or whatever.
There's got to be. I mean, I just can't.
The big ball, or some of them have air powered and have suction to pull one up. So
there's some probably fancy stuff in there. Wow.
Yeah,
it's like a whole thing I'm not aware of.
Well, when you hear pro shop, what do you think of? You think of like a golf pro shop where you go and you buy golfing supplies, where you can buy your
as
high
a player,
end, right? As a player, where it's not for the people who own the golf courses,
right? And so this is my thought: is like a bingo pro shop. Is it for the players?
I don't know.
Because if it's just for the players,
right,
we're back to a bookshelf.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having dots and seat cushions.
Maybe seat cushions,
Maybe a fan that goes around your neck and blows on
visor
your face.
if you've got those stupid lights on.
There you go.
You know, there you go. Maybe that's where they wear visors, is they're always in crappy halls with ugly fluorescent lighting everywhere. So everybody has to wear a visor so they don't go home with a headache.
Ooh. So, Staff Captain Karen.
Okay.
That's
so funny.
She is funny. A real and very important job. The staff captain is the second in command on the cruise ship and is in charge of the entire crew.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. There is a first officer and a second officer. The first officer does typically report to the staff captain, but they are often involved in navigation, where the actual captain would be having most of their duties. And then the second officer could be kind of either.
Okay. So wait, the cruise director reports to staff captain?
Yes.
They're not equals.
I don't think so.
Oh, interesting.
So the real Cormac ends up on the ship.
Yes.
Yeah, he's there because he loves Rosie, who is the Cher impersonator. Cher tribute. I'm sorry, she's not an impersonator. She's a tribute. Jamie tells Cormac that he'll keep an eye out for Rosie and see what she's up to and report back. But he doesn't know what she looks like. So he has to be shown a photo.
Right.
So Cormac shows him a photo of them at Diggerland.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what. I hit pause right there.
Did you? Did you go look?
What is that? I was like, nope, this has to be. And oh my gosh, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. So
I didn't know.
It is a set. It's not just a theme park. It is a set of theme parks.
Yeah.
There are 4 of them in England and 1 in the U.S. in New Jersey. He said she loves a JCB.
Yeah, I looked that up too.
It's a brand of heavy equipment.
Yeah.
Think Cat or John Deere.
Yeah, but you get to do it.
But you get to do it.
At Diggerland, you can go and get in the seat of these giant...
And dig. You can literally dig. They have races. They have like small ones so that the children can do it. It is ridiculous. I had no idea was this thing.
I mean, I just had no idea. I'm so surprised that this didn't originate in Texas.
I mean, for real. Or somewhere in the South.
I mean, or at least somewhere in the South, but like... Well, because ranch, like the ranches in Texas are so big and have so... Anyway, but I was like, this is bananas.
And it's because they're this like model couple. They're both like gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the idea that they're just both so into
Diggerland.
diggers.
Yeah.
They want to go,
dig.
Do something with the JCB.
Yeah.
I'm like... All right then.
I wonder if they do the JCB here or if it's a John Deere.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I
but
just feel like
I don't know. But
in these parts,
we
John Deere green down here now.
Maybe if they had one in the South, I don't know about
New Jersey. New Jersey,
yeah,
it's Cat.
Probably, probably. But they'll have like shows where they'll do stunts and things. I'm like. This is bananas, but also sounds kind of fun. Like, I don't know that I would go to New Jersey just specifically to go there.
No,
but if I ended up in that area and had an extra day,
I'd go.
I might think about it.
Yeah, I
would at least put it on the itinerary of possibilities.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I bet it's pretty fun.
Oh, it sounds like a hoot.
So we talked about this a really long time ago.
Oh, I know what you're about to say.
Cruise ships do have morgues.
They do. We talked about this.
We did. We talked about it briefly. But Cruise Hive had a whole article about it. Yes, they do have a morgue. The larger the ship, the more spaces they are required to have. If they come to the United States at all, they're required to have body bags on the ship.
Yeah.
It is like a refrigerated area, and what happens with that body depends on where you are and when things happen and what happened. But the good news is that for the most part, they're used not for people who die from nefarious things.
No. This is a direct correlation to a certain level of retirement
Exactly.
that goes on cruises.
Exactly. So we think of families and young people. And when you see the advertisements for cruises, what do you see? Young people in bikinis lounging by a pool that is not crowded.
Yeah. And then that's not really the reality.
And you get there and the pool is both very crowded and it's a lot of old people.
Yes, a lot.
That is why there was a Cher tribute doing specifically 1970s things.
Yeah.
Yes.
We found that to be true, that there was a lot of families and kids.
Right.
There was. And I mean, there was a lot of diversity of age, but there was also probably a disproportionate amount of older and retired individuals, but this is what they do. However, do you know that you can go live on a cruise ship now? There's a 3-year tour kicking off soon.
Oh, we're going to talk about more about that in a little bit.
I'm so excited. I mean, sign me up.
Well, there was, I remember reading about a lady, this was pre-pandemic, who figured out that it was cheaper to just go live on a cruise ship than it was to live in a retirement assisted living place. And she was able-bodied enough that she didn't need to have any help.
Yeah.
So she just booked cruise after cruise after cruise after cruise.
Yep. And there's a few cruise lines where you can literally just do a 1-year agreement and you're actually there as part of it is actually a cruise, but you're a permanent resident, kind of like how hotels will have permanent residents. But this other ship that's kicking off is like a 3-year and it's only permanent residents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hope you like
around
your
the
neighbor.
world, basically.
Wow.
And it's really, actually looking at it, it's actually cheap for the price.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's still a high price.
Oh, right.
But it's cheap for the price.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. When Jamie was talking to crew members about Pippa, somebody not knowing that Pippa was Jamie's brother described her as the Mary Celeste because so many sailors went down on her and nobody knows where she is. Which was hilarious.
I didn't know what the ship was that he was saying. But the whole little burn was really just so funny.
It was really funny, but somebody needs to brush up on their maritime disaster facts.
Oh, what's that?
Because the Mary Celeste was not lost.
Oh, it was not lost.
It was not lost. Well, she's kind of lost.
Is this like a foreshadowing, maybe? You can't tell me because you finished it, so don't say anything. All right, moving on.
Okay. I'm trying to decide whether it's foreshadowing or not. No, I'll keep that to myself.
Okay.
All right. So the Mary Celeste.
Yeah. What is this?
She was found about 400 miles east of the Azores in 1872.
Okay.
Okay. That's off the coast of Portugal. Yeah. She had left New York City 8 days before that. And she was found just listless, floating.
Okay.
Okay. So another boat saw her, went over to find out what was going on because there was not the kind of activity they would expect to see on board, and found that the lifeboat was missing. One of the 2 pumps that pumped water out of the hull if there was a leak was disassembled. There was about 3.5 feet of water in the bottom of the ship, but not enough to be really,
to sink it.
To be threatening really even. And that most of the cargo, which was industrial alcohol, was intact. And there was a 6-month supply of food and water, but no one was on board.
What?
Not a single person.
It's a ghost ship.
It was a ghost ship. That's exactly what it was.
So did that,
Get there. I'll get there. You're like, tell me what happened.
Yeah, tell me the rest of the story.
So we don't know exactly what happened, but let me tell you some of the far out and very entertaining theories that people had.
It crossed the Bermuda Triangle, didn't it?
No, it was north of that.
Okay.
Bermuda Triangle is further south.
And the Azores, though, right here.
Yeah, but it was New York to
But the Azores are south of.
Just a little bit.
But not enough for it to.
It wouldn't have gone through Bermuda. Okay. It would have gone more directly. Oh. It was already supposed to be there. It was already supposed to be in Italy, I think.
Okay.
By the time they found the ship.
Oh, they were actually going to Italy, though.
Right.
So they would have hung south. They might have crossed the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Look at my deep dive about to happen. You see this?
I do. I do. So, the theories were mutiny or pirates. Mm-hmm. There was no blood or anything found. So, and no like big messed up stuff other than the pump taken apart. So mutiny probably wasn't a thing. It had all of its cargo. Pirates probably wasn't a thing.
Definitely not.
Then there was, the idea of a vengeful ex-slave who infiltrated the boat and killed everybody and threw them off. And our homicidal sailor. Mm-hmm. There's no evidence to either one of those things. Then there's alien abduction, sea monsters, water spouts, the whole ridiculousness of it. But it wasn't really that large of a crew. Mm-hmm. It was the captain, his wife, their 2-year-old child, and 7 crewmen.
And they could all fit in one boat, in one lifeboat then, huh?
Probably. 10 people.
Yeah.
Probably. That seems like one life, but you have one lifeboat for that size of a crew. Mm-hmm. And just to make sure you have the bigger size lifeboat.
Yeah.
So that 10 of you can get off all at once.
Right.
Yeah. What they found when they looked at her ship's log.
Okay.
Was that she'd actually been about 6 miles away from the Azores at one point. They found her 400 miles off.
Okay.
And they didn't discover this until relatively recently. Well, relatively recently. November of 2007 is when this article was in Smithsonian Magazine.
Okay.
More than 100 years after it happened, they were looking into this, trying to figure out what happened. So they looked at the ship's logs. They realized that they were actually only about 6 miles off the Azores. So they looked back at different records that they've been keeping about wind and like tidal maritime things that they, I don't know exactly, but they've been tracking all these, and a lot of them are available because people are trying to track climate change.
Right.
And so a lot of this information was available. They figured out that it could have drifted without a crew steering it to exactly where it was found from the last known location. The last known location was inside of land. They could see land.
Yeah.
So
they just jumped ship and went to the Azores.
Probably. That's probably what happened. But
they were like, we hate this job. Shove it.
No, they had a malfunctioning chronometer, and they thought they were in a different place than they were. Mm-hmm. So they thought they should have seen land 3 days before they actually saw it.
Okay.
And they had this pump that wasn't working. And because there was so much cargo on the ship, they couldn't tell if it was taking on water.
Okay.
So once they saw land, this is what they think happened. Once they saw land, they couldn't fix this pump. Mm-hmm. They thought they had been much further from land than they thought they were. They decided to abandon ship because they weren't sure if they were ever going to have the opportunity to be able to get off of it again.
Okay.
So that doesn't explain what happened to the people.
They went a little nuts. Or why didn't they drop anchor then?
Or why is there no record of them in the Azores?
Yeah, and why didn't they log that they were
leaving? Still a lot of unanswered questions. But it's really probably not, sea monsters.
Probably not.
Probably not alien abduction.
Probably not.
Because the lifeboat was missing. So it's possible that they had some rough seas. They got into the lifeboat overturned.
Yeah, and then they were lost to sea.
Yeah, and now they're fish food.
But why they didn't log their...
why they were leaving, you would think.
You would think. So interesting.
Mm-hmm. But they knew where she was. They knew where the Mary Celeste was. They don't know where Pippa is.
Right. As of episode 1.
Right. Assuming, they're, fish food is what everybody assumes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm only going to briefly touch on these because they're a little boring, but it's like, I'm going to be honest. Like, it was worth looking up the information because I was curious, but are there tax advantages to registering your boat in Panama?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yes. There are. They have really competitive costs. They don't have age restrictions on the vessel. No tonnage requirements. You don't have to be a citizen of Panama to be able to register it there. So, yes, lots of advantages. And so many ships fly flags of convenience.
Yes.
You see that lots of them from Bahamas, lots of them from Panama. Mm-hmm. In fact, about 8,600 ships fly the Panamanian flag, according to the BBC.
Wow.
Which is the U.S. has about 3,400 and China has about 3,700.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it is convenient. They have a larger maritime fleet than the U.S. and China combined. But along with that, there's lots of corruption and allegations of scandal and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
which seems like it should be really interesting, and it's a very dry read. Well, I haven't found any really great reads.
White collar tax crimes are just not as sexy as
as murder.
As murder. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
Or big ducks with knives.
Part of the talking about why it was flying under a Panamanian flag was that when something happens at sea, Jamie said it had to be the Panama police.
Right.
That would come. So
I was wondering if that was true.
Okay. It depends. First of all, I'm going to say crime at sea is pretty rare.
Yeah, super rare.
It is not very common. Though I will put on our social media some stories of people who have had some altercations and, missing loved ones, and they're very frustrated, and they're like...
Yeah, there are some good stories about that. I say good.
Stories. Good,
Wait,
bad.
Let me rephrase that.
There are some interesting stories.
But... Yes. It is rare.
Right.
Especially from homicidal ducks.
Right. Most of the time it's public intoxication.
Yeah.
And that's
stuff gets out of hand.
Far the most common than sexual assault and regular assault. Mm-hmm. Those are the big ones. But cruise critic, if you're within 12 miles of a coastline, whatever country you're off the coast of would have jurisdiction.
Okay, that's my question. But if they're in international waters,
then it's the flag you fly. Right.
So in that case, Jamie was right.
Right, exactly. But if you're a U.S. citizen and you're the victim of a crime on a cruise ship, the FBI will get involved.
Oh, good. All right, good to know.
Yeah,
we can call our FBI.
Yeah. So if you're a victim of crime on a cruise ship, and you're not at the bottom of the ocean, or a duck hasn't stabbed you, then you should first talk to the security office and the medical staff if you need assistance. If you're in port, you can contact local law enforcement. And if you're a U.S. citizen, the nearest U.S. embassy. Okay. Those are the places that you should start with. If you're not a U.S. citizen, then I would try your own
embassy.
Country's embassy. Mm-hmm. Hopefully there's one in the city where you're ported. Ported?
No, docked.
But I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Ported.
It should be a word, though.
Well, you port things from one computer to another.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I only know this because my kids and IT. Anyway. So the real Cormac sneaks on to the ship, even though Jamie is there to be Cormac for this 3-month tour. Mm-hmm. So they agree that the real Cormac should stay in the cabin to avoid detection. But he about goes crazy.
I mean,
and
cabin fever, real thing.
In like 9 hours.
I mean,
it was hilarious.
It was 9 hours. Yeah.
It was so funny. And he was like, I can't even believe I have to do this for 3 months.
Yeah. Who could?
I mean, who could?
Who could?
But still.
I'm like, you have a face that grows hair. Grow a beard, first of all.
Yeah. Become a passenger.
Hair, do something.
Yeah. You have a face that grows a beard. That's funny.
I mean, it would be much harder for a girl who doesn't have. I mean, you couldn't. What do you do?
Right.
My face doesn't grow hair like that.
No.
Hopefully, it never will. Here's the fingers crossed.
That's right.
But like, I don't know. Some do when you get older.
Mm-hmm.
I'm prepared for this, but nevertheless, I don't have many options for my face.
Right. Yeah. I mean contouring, but there's only so much of that
There's only so much you can do.
Aside from the fact that he said murderers get less time than 3 months, which is not true.
Not true.
Well, why not even talk about that? I'll have that on the social media.
Okay.
I was like, 3 months. Is that the contract for the employees? But they made it sound like the cruise. Like the cruise was 3 months long. Like he would have to stay there because even though they were docking the whole... The cruise is 3 months long itself. Like all these passengers were going to be.
I didn't catch that. I thought that was the crew contract.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. It was unclear because I was like, you get to the first port and buy a plane ticket and go home.
Yeah,
I mean, this doesn't seem. It seems like you should be able to get off relatively easily.
Right.
Getting back on might be more of a more trouble, but getting off.
Oh, actually, not really. I don't even know how he got on, but. Maybe not, because once you're in different ports, getting on and off the boat
is a process.
Like, literally, you're through security, like almost like customs.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe he can't. Once he's on that, he probably ran on where they're doing all the loading.
Yeah.
and everything because he's crew and he knows that and he can get through. And he probably snuck on. Like he said, he snuck on, so he knows all those. Those are not open.
Oh,
especially if you're going somewhere where you have to take a little boat. To the shore. Yeah, right. They moor way out.
Right,
and then when you leave through like customs, you have to get onto like a small boat.
Okay,
right. Like a regular 15 to 25 foot. Kind of boat, like a big dinghy.
Right.
Sometimes it's smaller. They have a term for this, and it's not coming to my mind right now. It's a tender.
Oh.
You take a tender, and that's what you do. And so you take that to the port. So getting on and off would be a pain.
Okay.
If you were...
Okay, so he's feeling like 3 months he's got to be here.
He's going to be stuck there.
I was like, how long are cruises,
But he should be able to sneak off at the end of like the cruise. Yeah, which are like anywhere from a weekend to 10 days to 14 days.
You would think.
So when they're back and all the passengers are leaving, you probably could sneak out that way.
Right. Yeah, when they're taking like luggage and things off,
doing
stuff
all
like
the
that.
things. Yeah.
So I'm like, so maybe it was a 3 month cruise with this set of passengers. I'm like, that seems awfully long for a cruise.
It does.
But then you mentioned a 3-year cruise.
Yeah, but that's permanent residence only. It's a different. So it's not that same guest experience because you're supposed to live there. But I don't know.
Well, Travel and Leisure has the best 10 around the world cruise trips.
So maybe that.
So there are there are a lot.
So maybe that's what it is. That's how they said she took a dive in the Pacific.
Oh, because it was.
And they were in the other ports because it's a 3 month around the world.
Yes, because most of these on this list are somewhere between 111 and 180 days.
Okay,
I was like, holy smokes, that's a long time.
That's great.
6 months.
Sign me up.
So Viking has a world cruise that's 138 days long, goes from Fort Lauderdale to London, but the long way. Regent Seven Seas Cruises has 132 nights round trip to Miami. Okay. So you start in Miami and end in Miami. Did I say 132 nights?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Their 2024 cruise, the fares start at $73,500, and there's a waiting list.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
See, that's more expensive than the 3-year permanent residence.
Oh, what?
But again, like I said, that is built for, they know they've got permanent residences for 3 years.
Right.
So I think I read it was like the base cabin, which is pretty small. Pretty small.
Yeah.
But a base cabin.
That's a small place to live for 3 years.
Right. Was about $35,000 per year.
Oh, okay. Per year.
Still. If you make a salary that's in the 40s even, this is like doable.
Yeah.
Because it's all inclusive.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like, and so like a lot of remote workers are like, I can go do that because I work. And so it has like excellent Wi-Fi. It's got business centers.
I was going to say.
And conference rooms and things like that you can go, So yeah, kind of think of those like larger planned permanent residence hotels sort of things, right?
Wow.
Condos. But like, yeah, I think the point is you don't spend a lot of time in the cabin. You get to find other places to work and go. And then the price does go up from there, like the bigger rooms you have.
Right. And then the longest one on this list is a Royal Caribbean cruise. Has 150 stops, 274 nights, visits all 7 continents.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I want that. When I was younger, because I went to school as a dance major.
Right.
That was a legitimately probable pathway for me.
Yeah, was
cruise
ship
and I was
entertainer.
kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
Because I was a triple threat technically, right? I could sing, dance, act. So like for like those entertainers who do shows, that would have been my thing. And so I could have done that. And
you talk about your parallel lives. You're
yes,
dancing on a cruise ship
somewhere.
Or thrown off a cruise ship somewhere.
But, that was fine.
Yeah.
I would have probably enjoyed that, I think.
I think so.
But
I could see you enjoying
that. I can see that. I can also see me enjoying it as a passenger one day on a 3-year tour.
All of the sources that we use to inform our discussion here on Killer Fun Podcast can be found on our social media. Join us on Facebook at Killer Fun Podcast, exploring the intersection of crime and entertainment. You can find us on Twitter at Killer Fun Pod, or you can send us an email at killerfunpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share a link to whatever information you're looking for. We love to hear from you. You might learn a little something too. Psychology break.
Woohoo!
All right. I'm not going to talk about the killer's motivations because we don't know what those are. But Pippa tells Danny when they broke up that she wants to move on and she wants him to be unhappy. He seems like a piece of work, so fair.
Yeah, fair.
Why don't we want our exes to be happy, at least not initially?
It's a burn, man.
I mean, it is. Relationship Sort Out has some suggestions. Partly that we can't imagine our world without this person. And so we want them to be unhappy because we are feeling unhappy. Or the breakup was not great. It was a contentious situation. So we want them to be in pain because
Suffer.
we're also in pain.
Punished.
Punish. Punish it. Yeah. Sorry, Romeo and Juliet. I'm thinking about it. You feel betrayed. You feel lonely. Maybe you're jealous. Maybe they broke up with you because they're moving on already. And that makes you want them to see them fail. Some ways to overcome that feeling. Be future oriented. Stop living in the past. Think about what's ahead of you, what opportunities you have because you're no longer with this particular individual. Don't look at their social media. Quit stalking them. just don't. Do things that bring you happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are things that you should do and try, but it's totally normal to want them to be unhappy.
Well, yeah, you put all this work in and then you kind of feel like your efforts go to help them in a different relationship instead of reaping the benefits. And so it's hard to like sunk cost fallacy.
Right. Exactly.
And
even if you shouldn't be with them anymore, you're like, but I put so much work into them.
Yes, exactly. It's like when people fix up their house right before they sell it. And then they're like, oh, but I never got to live in it.
So there's a Ask Polly on the cut from 2015. It's written by Heather Havrelsky. She writes the Ask Polly column. I don't know why it's called Ask Polly, but it started out somewhere else. Then it was in the cut for a while. Now it's a Substack. Blah, blah, blah.
As everything is now.
Yeah, as everything is now. So somebody wrote in about how their ex's happiness was making them feel very sad. And Heather had some things to say.
Ooh.
She said to look back at your relationship and realize that the obsessed girl who was following this ex is a past version of herself, and that she needs to move on and be a better current version of herself. That just because this man who has found somebody else is engaged and his fiance is pregnant, all things that this woman wanted with this particular man, doesn't mean that he's any better of a partner than he was, and he was cheating on her. And she's like, just because you're seeing this thing happen and it's very upsetting, and that you should remember that sometimes those things are ancient history. You need to put them in the past where they are and where they belong, and start looking towards your future, and that it can be very disarming and jarring to see him having everything that she wanted with him with somebody else.
Yeah.
What she's seeing is social media. She's seeing the highlight reel, and that you should accept these emotions, feel them, maybe analyze them a little bit, and then let them go. Move on with your life. But it's totally normal to feel sad when they look like they're doing well. But, you know, she was with this guy for like years.
Yeah, he took every bit of that baggage into the new relationship.
Yes, he did. And it may be good right now.
For a minute, maybe.
Yeah. But when they get divorced later, now she's tied to him forever because they have a child together.
Yeah, exactly.
Real life.
Ooh, real life.
Well, what happens when you jump off a cruise ship?
I mean, I'm not sure, but you were obliterated.
Oh, I mean, well, it depends.
She jumped off the back.
She jumped off the back, like into cold, dark water.
That's right next to the propellers. Those propellers stick out quite a bit from the back.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
chopped to bits.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, right?
It seems like you'd have to be very, very precise to avoid this.
Precise to avoid it. Also, knowing that whatever is still on that ship is worse than being chopped up by propellers.
Oh, yeah. Which is like, that's a big risk analysis to make in that moment.
But she made it.
Was a swimmer.
She was a swimmer. We saw that. Yes. So, most people don't really just fall off a cruise ship.
No.
Their railings are really, really high. So you have to be pushed or intentionally jump.
Or drunk.
And usually the ship has a fair bit of sensors and things and cameras around it. They're going to stop that ship immediately and start looking for people.
There's like a crew ratio of 2 to 1.
Yeah.
So there's crew freaking everywhere.
Right.
The chances you're going to find yourself on a deck by yourself, pretty low, you know?
Well, and there's like 3,000 staff on this ship.
I mean,
it's huge.
It's huge.
I mean, the fact that Pippa could get chased from one end to the other and have nobody see is...
The only thing about that they did set up was a thunderstorm, so that would kind of empty the decks.
Okay.
It wasn't very wet outside, but I digress.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, come on. Okay. So when she stands on this ledge, I thought for sure that she saw that she could jump down to a lower deck.
Oh.
And that he would think she jumped, but she actually just would fall off and then jump down and run.
Oh.
But that wasn't true.
No. So only about 25 people a year actually jump off of cruise ships.
Which is a small number considering.
They're millions. I mean, In 2019, there were about 29 million passengers on cruise ships.
Yeah.
And 26
and really
fell overboard.
I think probably people fall overboard on their own balconies.
Right.
Not on the main decks.
No. They might be committing suicide, pranks, alcohol or drug-related incidents, climbing on balconies or railings, which I'm sure is in the don't do this.
Yeah. I mean, we took our kids. They weren't small children.
Right.
They were just old enough to be stupid. Big enough to climb something should they desire and be dumb and not recognize the consequences,
right.
but old enough to think that they're invincible. So and they weren't tiny babies. They were,
right.
tweens, almost,
Right.
But so I remember laying the freaking law down about their balcony because we had adjoining rooms.
Okay.
So they had a balcony and we did. And we were like, if you want the privilege of being able to wake up and go sit on your balcony without having to have one of us awake or whatever, then I laid down the law. Like I scared the bejesus out of them about falling overboard.
Yeah.
And
you will fall into shark-infested waters and die.
You'll die when you hit the water.
Right.
Let's just be clear. Like you're not hitting in the water and then, oh no, I need a life jacket. No, you're done.
Right.
So I was laying that down, and so much so that our oldest, who is an amazing caretaker, got a little scared every time our youngest got even close to Lena's elbows and look. So we had to loosen up the reins a little bit.
It's a don't climb if you're standing on your flat feet.
Yes. I mean, they were came to their chest about, so they could kind of, but my biggest fear wasn't that they would actually climb it and do I'm king of the world kind of stuff. I was so afraid they were going to start wrestling. Oh. And end up kind of pushing somebody over something.
Your kids do wrestle.
Well, they do wrestle and they'll push each other over a couch. No problem. Right. So I was like, that railing. Yeah. And got nothing on two tweens.
Yeah.
Who were wrestling.
That's true.
I would say not wrestling. They were wrestling.
So survival rates when you jump off have a lot of different factors. Whether you get injured when you fall, which deck you fall from,
yes,
where the ship is, how fast the ship is moving, if it's moving at all, the time of day, the temperature of the water, the height of the waves, how long it takes for somebody to raise an alarm, whether you can swim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whether the person is inebriated in some way. So if you fall or jump into cold, rough seas at night, you're probably done for.
Yeah.
If it's warm, flat water off a lower deck, when you're in the port, you'll probably live. Now, you may live, but you probably are not going to be able to go on a cruise ever again.
Yeah.
At least not on that cruise line. Right.
Unless you're the victim.
Right. So there aren't laws that specifically prohibit you from jumping off a cruise ship because they do want people to jump in the event that there's some sort of emergency and you can't get to a lifeboat. You're better off jumping and trying than not.
Oh, I'm going to stand on the ship and as it goes down, I'm going to tell somebody near me, swim, and find a door to hang on to.
Sure.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Sure.
He could have fit.
Jack
could have lived.
He could have lived.
I digress.
But Nick Nadev jumped off of his balcony from the Symphony of the Seas ship in the Bahamas into shark-infested waters. And he and all of his friends that he were on the cruise with were escorted off the boat and told that they were never, ever able to take a Royal Caribbean cruise ever again.
Good.
They're done.
Done. Yeah, we don't need that kind of riffraff.
Super high. It was super high. He did put a video of it on Instagram. It was so high.
Was he like a diver?
He was drunk.
Oh, he was just drunk.
He was still drunk from the night before.
Oh, dang.
So the homicidal duck was a person wearing a mask. So other serial killers who wore masks?
Many.
Yes,
I think
many.
Maybe not a duck.
Not a duck.
I mean,
couldn't
he looked
find
like
any
he
ducks.
escaped from a Chuck E. Cheese.
I mean, for real. And I wouldn't say a lot with like characters.
Yeah.
So the Phantom Killer, there was a string of killings. This is from A&E. There was a string of killings in Texarkana that remain unsolved, and they'd go to Lover's Lane, and the man wore a white mask with holes cut out for his mouth and eyes. And over the course of 10 weeks, he killed a total of 5 people and severely injured 3. And they only know that he wore a mask because of the people who survived. And some people think that the Phantom Killer of Texarkana, who was never caught, is actually the Zodiac Killer. Because he also wore a black executioner-style hood and clothes decorated with Zodiac symbols. And Dr. Carol Lieberman, a forensic psychologist, said that killers wear costumes not only to keep the victim from making an identification, but also to intimidate their victims. So there's more than one thing happening there.
I was wondering if it might not also involve some disassociation.
Oh, yes, right? Probably.
Because, you know, how people are much more free. They're uninhibited when they put a mask on.
Or when they're on keyboard warriors.
And so, like, something about doing that kind of sets free that part. And there's, like, a disassociation. You don't have to necessarily integrate. You know?
Yeah. You don't have to feel responsible for the things that the hooded man did.
Right. Like, and I don't know if that's true. Yeah, that's what I think.
Certainly it was true for at least one serial killer at some point.
I'm sure.
So there you go. And then this guy's not a serial killer, but James Egan Holmes. He is a mass murderer. He did the shooting in Aurora, Colorado in 2012 at the Dark Knight Rises premiere. And he killed 12 people and additionally injured 70. And he was dressed as the Joker and told authorities he was the Joker.
That is disassociation.
There you go. So we talked a little bit about wanting your ex to be unhappy.
Yeah.
Here are some ways to make your ex unhappy.
I love how this is like ending on a good note.
That's right. Exactly. That's so funny. If you want to make them miserable and unhappy, ignore them. They're used to being able to see you and talk to you whenever they want.
Yeah.
Do not give them that opportunity. Remove them from your social media. If they can't find out what you're doing, then they feel like they're left out. Focus on yourself. That you don't want to be bitter and miserable. You want them to feel that way. So you want to feel... the better you feel about yourself, and if they find out about it, the worse they're going to feel about themselves. So again, be the best version of yourself. That all the things that they found irresistible when y'all first started dating, you want those things amplified.
Yeah.
Do that.
This is why everybody goes, and as soon as they break up with somebody, they're living their best life.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. They go out and
they're
have fun.
They're trying to win the breakup.
That's right. Go out, have fun, do something good. Don't be petty. Don't resort to childish tactics. Keep it classy. Let them think that you're over them. They don't need to know if you're sad and crying in the middle of the night.
It's not their call
That's
anymore.
right. And, go ahead, have a rebound.
Have a rebound.
Go for it. So basically, all the ways to make your ex feel bad is to make yourself feel good.
Yes. I like it.
Yeah. So... next time, we're going to go a little darker.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. But this is also kind of a satirical, dark comedy sort of thing from what I've read. And it's Swarm on Prime Video.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too. A fan becomes unhealthily obsessed with a pop star. And evidently, Donald Glover is one of the creators of the show. Beyonce has, a legion of fans.
Yeah.
And they call themselves the Beehive. And the pop star that is in this show has the Swarm.
Okay.
Is her
gotcha
legion of fans. So that's where the name comes from. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a little scary, a little darker, but also still maybe some fun.
Yeah, it always is.
That's right. It always is.
With us anyways. So tell a friend.
That's right. Absolutely. Thanks so much for listening. We know you make a choice that we don't just come on the radio, and we really appreciate it. Like Jackie said, tell a friend. And until next time, be safe, be kind, and wash your hands.
Da, da, da.